All right, you guys, welcome into another One Piece video. Today, we got the post-game breakdown discussion about Chapter 1154. So, just in case this is your first time here, how this works is that I like to go through the comment section of the full spoiler video just to see what everybody is talking about. What are the main takeaways, what are the theories, and what are the opinions out there? So, without further ado, let's just hop right into it with the top comment from 2 days ago. Let's see here. What did they say? That conversation between Blackbeard and Garp is about to be insane. Yeah, the thing is, right? We know that Blackbeard is essentially trying to become Rocks 2.0. We don't know if Blackbeard wants to be better than his father, if he's trying to get revenge for his father, or just all of the above. But if he's trying to avenge his dad, ooh, Garp is the guy you gotta go after, right? Because Garp was there. Garp played an integral role when it came to taking down his dad. So if Blackbeard is holding that grudge, dude, Garp's chances of getting off the island alive, ooh, it's going down. It is going down. And also, I'm excited to see if Garp will realize that Blackbeard is, of course, Rox's son. I mean, brother, you put their images side by side, you'd have to be blind not to see the uncanny resemblance at this point. So I would hope that Garp knows. Maybe he sees these striking similarities. Maybe he just has that extra info, that extra lore. Not too sure, but yes, I am excited for that conversation. And also, since Blackbeard was not present the day his dad died, I wonder if he's going to ask Garp what happened. And maybe, just maybe, if we don't get the God Valley flashback here in Elbaf, this is how we get it. Because of Blackbeard wanting to know how his dad fell. That would be epic. Dude, Garp telling us the whole story? Ooh, yeah. Hey, I love spending time with Garp. I don't know if he's going to survive through the entire series or not. So if he is going to die, let us spend some time with the guy, man. Which I do want to throw that out there. Do you guys think Garp is actually going to survive till the end of story? Or do you think he's going to get cooked soon? Right? Whether it's to Blackbeard or to Emu or for somebody else. What do you guys think about that? So now on to the second top comment. They say, so current Rock's feat. 1, he cut a mountain. 2, he killed an admiral. 3, he fought Garp and Roger in their prime. And 4, he has all 3 forms of hockey. I would add in another one, and that would be that Rox defeated baby Loki, which people are saying that's not a feat, but you gotta imagine, dude, Loki is a durable ass kid. You know, Loki's over here tanking falls from the sun realm. So yeah, forgive me if I call that a feat, guys. You know, stabbing Loki in the back as a child, you know, getting the best of him, making Loki want to join your crew afterwards. Yeah, that's a feat. That's a feat. As far as cutting a mountain goes, I'm not trying to nitpick here, but we do not know if this was actually Rox doing it or if it was Whitebeard or maybe even Shiki. I think Rox could do this, don't get me wrong, but we didn't see him actually cut the mountain firsthand. So this one is still up in the air, just like the mountain. Yes, Rox feats in the future will need to be crazy to top these. Yeah, I mean, Rox is only going to get crazier. The thing is, we don't even know his fighting style yet, right? Is he a no devil fruit type of fighter? Does he have a devil fruit? Does he have 2 devil fruits like Blackbeard? Oh, dude, I can't wait. Whitebeard, being the one to point out that Loki was crying, I know his fatherly senses were tingling. Surprised he didn't try to adopt Loki himself. That is true. Man, Whitebeard's so good. And that does make me wonder. Like, people were wondering this back when we heard about God Valley in the beginning, but how is Whitebeard associated with these criminals, these hoodlums, man? Because on one end, you had Shiki laughing at Kid Loki, like, oh, look at this demonic ass child. And then on the other hand, you have Whitebeard saying, hey son, why are you crying? You know, like, Whitebeard does not fit in. So maybe it's like Kuzan with the Blackbeard Pirates current day, where Kuzan is working for his own sense of justice, and that just so happens to put him in line with Blackbeard. Maybe Whitebeard's the same. Like, hey, I don't like these guys. These guys are evil, but I have a goal in mind, and they're the best crew to set sail with. Maybe that's it. I love how Rox saw a kid crash down like a effing meteor, and his only reaction was, oh, cool, we're in the right place, yeah? You're not wrong. I mean, they literally see Loki crying, they see the demonic eyes, and they're like, hey, look at this big kid, we're in Elbaf, guys, we did it. I mean, to be fair, this is very Luffy-like, right? He's all about the adventure, so yeah. And the thing is, too, is that Loki's not dying, right? He's fine. He's hurt, but he's fine. That's hilarious. This one says, Kid Loki, casually performing Kaido feats by jumping from the sun world. Yeah. Oh, I like this one right here. Look at this. It seems like they really are half brothers. I love this theory. You know, this theory has been around ever since we first got the King Harold portrait, I think like 20, maybe even 25 chapters ago. But the first time we saw King Harold, people were like, hey, he looks like Kaido. And then we see Loki as a kid with the Kanabo. It's like, oh, he's kind of like Kaido. And then even in this chapter, we see King Harold, and it's like, dude, he looks like Kaido. Like, the parallels are all there. The appearance is there. And man, I just wonder if Oda's actually going that route, or if it really is all a coincidence. It's kind of like Loki's curse, right? Loki's curse was all coincidental. Elbaf just so happened to have wildfires. It just so happened to have windstorms. It just so happened to go through a crazy ice storm, right? And then it was all attributed to Loki's curse. I wonder if we're doing that right now, but for King Harold and Kaido. This is all just coincidences, but because it all falls in line with Kaido, it's like, I wonder. And then, of course, it doesn't help that Kaido is an Oni. He is an abnormally large human with horns. So it's like, yo, they come from somewhere. You know, we know that the ancient giants have horns and that the bloodline is getting diluted. So if you're telling me that Onis are a hybrid between ancient giants and humans, that's not super crazy in my opinion. So yeah, the door is open for that to happen. I feel like if Kaido is actually related to Harold and Loki, that Oda will reveal this in an SBS. You know, as important as we want to make this out to be, it's definitely an SBS kind of thing. Kind of like Zoro's lineage, right? Oh, you guys want to know about Zoro's dad and mom? Read the SBS. I feel like that's gonna be the same thing here. Also, like with Ulti in page 1, we learned about Hanafuda being their dad through an SBS. So yeah, I think somebody's gonna ask this next volume, if I had to guess. Oda, at 39 seconds. You got Shiki and Elbaf. Fans, yay! But it was decades ago. Fans, still in my bingo book. Yeah, that's how it feels, right? You know, people wanted Shiki current day. We didn't get that. But I think the Shiki fans are just happy that he's not forgotten about. That he's in the series in the first place, you know? Because Shiki, he exists in a weird realm where he is a canon character, but we know him mostly from non-canon events, like film Strong World. So yeah, I think this is just perfect. This is what every Shiki fan wants. And I do just wonder where he is current day. Like, will Oda actually tackle that? I think he will. I don't think Shiki is going to get like a major plot point, but I think he could be one of those characters, kind of like Wang Ji, where we hear about them back on Hachinosu, and it's like, oh yeah, they were here for a while, and then they just got cooked. I could see Shiki getting that same treatment, but I don't know. Would that be disrespectful? That's tough. That's tough. I mean, Oda's talked about Shiki in the SBS before, just recently, about how he doesn't like the fact that Shiki has the float no me nowadays. But in the movie, it works. But nowadays, he feels like he'd have to give it to Shiki anyways because the movie has it. Yada, yada. The problem with Shiki is that his devil fruit would very much so trivialize what's happening in the world right now. Like a guy that can make islands float? Yeah, you know, maybe we don't make him a focal point in the story, you know? Like imagine the islands are sinking and Shiki's going around just saying, hey, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. Just pay your taxes or something. Yeah, I'm not too sure with Shiki, man. But I'm just glad we have him. I'm just glad to see more Shiki. This one says, Luffy, son of Dragon, Shanks, son of Garling, Blackbeard, son of Xebec, Buggy, son of Oda. Dude, we're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to bring up the Buggy theories. I'm sure you guys know exactly what I mean just by me uttering that sentence right there. But if you've been online, you probably have seen people saying that Xebec looks like Buggy. I can kind of see it. You know, when you put the images side by side, the Cross Guild bounty poster plus Xebec, I could see it. But is that what Oda's doing? I just don't know. The thing with Buggy is that he is going to be very special. Like, in no world is Buggy not going to be from an important bloodline. I mean, hell, the nose is a dead giveaway. The minute Oda said that Buggy's nose is real, like a genuine thing, it's like, okay, at the very least, at the bare minimum, Buggy is a member of a special tribe. But where do we go from here? You know, like, are we saying he's part celestial? Are we saying that his tribe got wiped out and he's the only survivor? We don't know, but he's going to be the son of somebody important. I put my money on it. As far as Buggy being another son of Xebec, I'm kind of iffy on that one. You know, you guys know me as the guy who loves crazy theories, man. Oh my God, I'll talk about crazy theories all day long, but for the Xebec theory, for the Xebec train, I'm not on board yet. I gotta see more from Xebec before I can actually talk about it, right? Because right now we're just comparing images, and I don't think that's the easiest thing to go with. At least for Harold and Kaido, we not just have the similarities in appearance, but we have the parallels between Loki jumping from the Sun Realm, and then we also have the Kanabo, and then we have the whole like mystery of the Onis in general. Like, there's more here than just appearances. But for Buggy, right now, it's just all appearance based. I need just a little bit more before I can like actually talk about it, or at least talk about it well, is what I mean. This one says, Rocks cutting an Elbaf mountain in half as an entrance is nuts. Yeah, hey, even if it's not Rocks doing it, it's still a really good entrance, man. Because that mountain must be massive. No wonder Loki would idolize Rocks off the way he met him alone, yeah? And the thing is that we don't know how Rocks feels about Loki's eyes. Like, of course, Shiki made fun of his eyes, Whitebeard didn't, so maybe Rocks falls in the Whitebeard camp, where he sees Loki's eyes and he's like, hey, those are cool, man. What's up with that? You know, because that's what Luffy would do. You know, we're all expecting Luffy to not care about Loki's eyes at all. I think Rocks is going to be in the same vein. Or maybe he'll tell Loki that his eyes are really cool, like they're special. Like, hey, take pride in your eyes, man. That's unique as hell. You know, I've been around the world, man. I haven't seen those before. You know, make Loki feel good about himself. You know, I am in the camp that if Loki just has one friend, he'd be a very different character, and Rocks might be his first friend. This says, I'm so glad Blackbeard isn't a clone or anything like that, but that makes his whole 3 mystery even more mysterious. Yes. I mean, not just the 3 mystery, brother. We still have the mystery about the 2 devil fruits. We still have the mystery about why Blackbeard doesn't sleep. And then we have what Marco said, right? Marco said that Blackbeard has a special body. What does that mean? Blackbeard doesn't wear a shirt, brother. You know what I mean? We see Blackbeard's chest and belly button every damn panel he's in. There's nothing weird about his body there. So what's odd about his body? Is it on his back? Is it in his lower realm? Or is the weirdness simply inside of his body? We don't know. You know, there's a lot of mystery still surrounding Blackbeard. And even though we got a glimpse at what the truth may be, the mystery still proceeds. I mean, even with Rocks, we now have to bring him into question. Does Rocks have the same specialties that Blackbeard has? Can Rocks eat 2 devil fruits? Can Rocks go to sleep? Does Rocks have a weird body? Those are all still big questions. This comment says, it's a reply to this one, I had a thought yesterday that's a bit of a reach, but if Rocks really died, what if somehow he's one of the personas contained in Blackbeard? He's the one that pops out when he pulls out the off-screen hockey. This right here, not even a reach. This has been a very popular theory for the longest time. You know, before we had, I would say, even the Rocks is Blackbeard's dad theories out there, we had this theory right here, that Rocks is a personality of Blackbeard. And that is the cause of not just the off-screen hockey and the off-screen feats, but it's also the reason why Blackbeard doesn't sleep. Maybe it's like Hakuba, where when Cavendish goes to sleep, Hakuba wakes up. Maybe that's the case here. You know, Blackbeard goes to sleep and his dad takes over, which would be kind of crazy now that I think about it. This one says, now it makes sense. Why Teach wants to be crowned as the king of Hachinosu? Yes. So in this spoiler video, of course, I was going off of the spoiler details. I didn't read the chapter yet. None of us have. You know, that's one thing to keep in mind with all these comments. But it made it sound like Rocks was the king of Hachinosu at that point in time, and that he was the king that Harold aligned with. But now that we have the chapter, it doesn't seem like that's the case. Harold went with a different king, and he simply spotted Xebec at the Reverie. I still think that Xebec could be the king of Hachinosu, but he could very well just be a rogue agent that went to the Reverie. But of course, I think this is the most likely case, that Xebec was just the king of Hachinosu, and that's why he was at the Reverie in the first place. But the thing with the Reverie is that you don't need an invitation to go. You know, if you're a pirate, or if you're a wanted man, or just a bad guy in general, you can just fight your way into the Reverie. This one says, Rocks D. Xebec is the Madara Uchiha of One Piece. The Lurking Legend is now live. Plus, Punk Hazard lore. The Elbaf arc is unraveling the biggest knots in the story, yeah? Oda is making Elbaf great. Dude, you know, you guys remember, back when Elbaf first started, I was hesitant. You know, I knew we were going to get some big things with Loki, with Usopp, and all that good stuff. But Oda took all of my expectations and he superseded them. He destroyed them. Because not only do we have the Lurking Legend lore, we got the God Knights here. We have Emu here. Brother, we got Galley oh my god. Yeah, Elbaf is the gift that keeps on giving, man. This one says, Baby Beard got his sleep problems from the mother side of the family. That could be the case. You know, Xebec doesn't have to be special. It could all come from the mom. This one says, Roxy Xebec is literally aura personified, a true rival to Gold D. Roger. Yep. 147. I always thought Blackbeard was just stealing bro's swag. Whole time, that was his dad's. Yeah. You know, and like I said, it makes me wonder why Blackbeard cares so much about his dad. Like, Blackbeard was 2 years old when his dad died. Like, how did he get instilled into the Roxy Xebec mindset at that early of an age? Was it the storytelling? Was it the legacy? The mom? The logbook? We don't know. I mean, we do know that inherited will is a major theme in One Piece. So maybe that's it. You know, maybe Rox's will just got passed on to Blackbeard. Maybe it was forcefully passed on. Because we gotta remember that Whitebeard did say that Blackbeard is not the D that Roger is waiting for. Maybe he's not the correct D because his will is tainted. His will is not his own. Wasn't there an ancient weapon, parentheses Pluton, that sunk deep underwater in Wano? Yes. This is in reference to Galley Law. When it comes to Galley Law, I don't think it's just Pluton, by the way. Because in this video, I mentioned Noah's Ark, but this guy's also mentioning Pluton. I'm gonna go as far to say that Galley Law created all the ancient weapons of the past. We don't know how Uranus works yet, right? It seems to be this ship in the sky, which somebody had to have made it. Maybe that was also Galley Law. Pluton could have been Galley Law. Noah's Ark could have been Galley Law. I think they're going to be connected to all the ancient weapons of the past. Because you have to remember, right? The main thought trend right now is that they created the Noah's Ark, or they're maintaining the Noah's Ark. That is already related to Poseidon. Why not take the extra step and say they also made Pluton, or they also made Uranus? I don't think that'd be super far stretched. You know, somebody had to have cooked those up in a lab. Why not Galley Raw? However they pronounce it. Which I am curious, right? If you read TCB and OP scans, they do spell out Galley Raw, but they also add in the note that it sounds like Galley Law, but just slightly altered. I wonder what Viz is going to go with, because that's always interesting. Because for Viz, they can't exactly do the same thing as TCB and OP scans, where they add in a translator note explaining why they did certain things. They just kind of have to say things with their chest, and that's it, which kind of sad for them, dude. Sad for them. Because that's how we get things like the mother frame. And then they couldn't add the nuance as to why they thought it was the mother frame. And then now the whole community's kind of laughing at them since it was revealed that it's actually mother flame and not frame. But, you know, I feel like if Stephen Paul or, you know, the Viz translators had a chance to voice why they thought a certain thing, I think that'd be a lot smoother. Kind of like how they thought that Garling was the king of God Valley, and they couldn't really add the nuance as to why they translated it that way. They just had to go back and retroactively fix it. So a little bit unfortunate for them, dude. They got a hard job. This one says, during God's Valley, Rox's body was compromised. Big Mom used her fruit to transfer Rox's soul into Blackbeard to somewhat save him. This would explain a lot of the mysteries behind Blackbeard, such as his ability for 2 devil fruits, his lack of sleep, being referred to as them, and the hidden strength he used to defeat Ace and Shanks. Okay. Huh. So Big Mom extracted Rox's soul and put him into Blackbeard. That would explain a lot of things off rip. Yeah, this isn't a bad theory. I guess now we just need to see where Blackbeard was at that time. Like, was Blackbeard actually on Rox's ship, or was Blackbeard not even on that island in the first place? Because I think that's going to be very important. All right, for Blackbeard, when Whitebeard found him, he was at Shadeport, or Shade Island even, and I don't know where that's at. Let me see. Does Shadeport actually have like a location specified? Like a certain sea? Because God Valley is in the West Blue. So if Shadeport is also in the West Blue, I think that'd be kind of huge. All right, so I'm looking at the wiki for Shadeport right now, and it doesn't have a location listed. It just says in the Grand Line, which is, you know, could be anywhere. But yeah, I mean, well, Grand Line doesn't include the Blues, so I guess that kind of kills that, but you could just say that they dropped him off there after God Valley. This one says, Blackbeard was a kid, and why wouldn't Big Mom ever approach Blackbeard or vice versa? I like the idea because we know Blackbeard has a hidden strength, and his lineage is weird. We still don't know if his lineage is the reason why he's the way he is, and if he got it from his dad or his mom. Yes, that is true. As far as why legacy characters have not approached Blackbeard, I have no clue. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, dude, Blackbeard and Roxy Xebec look so damn similar. I'm surprised nobody's brought that up before. Like, hey, Rox's son? is that you? That's crazy. I mean, I guess they did say that they tried to erase Roxy Xebec from history, so most people wouldn't know about him. But come on, dude. Characters like Whitebeard, you know, characters like Big Mom, maybe even Kaido. You know, Whitebeard, I don't think would bring it up because he has the whole thing where he doesn't care about your father. But Kaido, dude, imagine if Kaido and Big Mom dropped a line in Wano where they're like, hey, does this brat look familiar to you? And they like bring up a poster of Blackbeard, and then they're like, huh, now that you say it, he does remind me of somebody. That would be massive. But maybe that'd be too on the nose though. I feel like if they did that, everybody automatically would assume that Blackbeard is Rox's son. So maybe that's why Oda didn't want to do that. He didn't want to make it too obvious. I feel like Rox killed an admiral after some potential incident with the Celestial Dragons, and after he, as the king, stood up to them, an admiral intervened, making yet another Reverie mayhem. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I feel like this is the most logical conclusion right away. I also see this comment right here, where they say it could be misinformation by the world government, like how they framed Sabo for King Cobra's death. But I also agree with the comment below that, which says, no, that will kill the hype. Roxy Xebec killing an admiral, I think that is really hype. You know, just the first confirmed admiral death in the series going to Blackbeard's dad, yeah, that is massive. You know, that is aura personified. I want that to be the case. But I don't think it would kill all the hype. You know, I agree and disagree with this. Because if we're saying that it was misinformation and that they framed Roxy Xebec, well, why would they do that in the first place? Why would they frame Rox? Maybe, just like Sabo, he discovered the truth about the empty throne. I think that would also be hype, right? If you're telling me Roxy Xebec went up there, saw the Gorosei transform, saw Emu transform, and he survived, yeah, that'd be kind of fire. You know, I don't think that would kill the hype. I think it would just supply a different type of hype, if you know what I mean. Weirdly worded, you know, I'm kind of using hype as a catch-all, but yeah. Blackbeard has pocket Galley Law Giants. He had Kuzan go to Punk Hazard. Blackbeard really is getting and repairing Pluton. Wait a minute, this guy's cooking. Wait, I didn't even think about that. You know, when I was thinking about the Galley Law Giants at Punk Hazard, I was like, okay, the rising waters are a thing, right? Eventually, that room is going to be filled with water, which would naturally thaw those giants out. But we don't have to do that. We don't have to wait that long. Instead, we could just send Kuzan there and he could get rid of the ice. No, you're so right. And then, of course, Kuzan would know about those giants because he fought Akainu there. So surely he knows that there's like a hidden chamber full of giants, right? Yeah, Blackbeard, man, he has all the cards. He's really got all the cards. I mean, with Caribou in his arsenal, oh my god. You know, Caribou knows about Shirahoshi. Caribou knows that Pluton's in Wano. Here it is. Blackbeard goes to Wano. He gets Pluton. He then goes to Fishman Island. He gets Shirahoshi. He maybe gets the Noah's Ark. And then he also gets the Galley Law Giants to make all of it function. Ooh, damn, dude. Blackbeard's making money moves. I really wish that One Piece, I don't know if it would ever happen, but imagine if One Piece had a thing where we spent 1 week with the Straw Hats and then the next week with the Blackbeard Pirates, or maybe even a month, right? 1 month with the Straw Hats, 1 month with the Blackbeard Pirates, 1 month with the Straw Hats, and then another month with the Blackbeard Pirates. Like, that'd be so cool if we alternated perspectives. I mean, hell, it doesn't even have to just be the Blackbeard Pirates. Dude, imagine if we spent that amount of time with Shanks, or with Cross Guild, or with the WG. Ooh. You know how, like, some books do that, right? Where it's like, hey, chapter 57, Devin. And now, chapter 58, Megan. Like, if we had that but for One Piece, ooh, that'd be nice. That would be nice. I think that is because he was in the process of recruiting members for his crew. Maybe they were after someone specific in Elbaf. Yes. It does look like Roxy Xebec is after King Harold. Maybe, like you said right here, to have him become part of his crew. I did see one comment earlier saying that King Harold would make a great navigator for the Rox Pirates, and I do agree with that. And then, of course, besides King Harold navigating, we do know that Xebec likes to gather strong fighters regardless. So even if Harold had no navigational skills at all, Rox would want him. I mean, hell, Rox would want any ancient giant to join his crew, which is now kind of shocking as to why he doesn't want Loki there. Maybe Loki really is just too young, but I mean, dude, look at Kaido. You know, they let Kaido in and he was a teenager, so I don't know. Maybe he's just a little bit biased. Maybe Rox didn't like Loki's eyes even. No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think Rox is the type of guy that would judge somebody's eyes, but Maybe that's just me. This one says, Whitebeard told Blackbeard Roger wasn't waiting for him, but Blackbeard wanted to follow his father's destiny all along. Yeah, I bet Blackbeard heard that line, and he was probably like, dude, who cares, man? I don't like Roger. What do you mean? Roger's waiting for me? Hell no, dude. I'm gonna kill Roger. This one says, friendly reminder that Gadatsu did the Skyfall feat before Kaido and Loki. Yep. Shout out to Gadatsu, man. He's still alive out there somewhere. He has a bathhouse, I think, in the cover page story. This one says, the fact that Xebec has a scar on the left side of his face is telling. Was he really on the wrong side? Considering almost all good characters have either a scar or a tattoo on that side of the face, Luffy, Dragon, Garp, Shanks, etc., this small aspect alone opens a lot of doors and foreshadowing. Did Roger get the idea of chasing the rope poneglyphs after his fight with Xebec? Maybe something Rock said resonated with him and piqued Roger's desire to chase the rope poneglyphs and find the One Piece. This flashback has already opened up a plethora of curiosities, and I, for one, am here for it. Yeah, I mean, and not just these characters, right? People have said that the tattoo that Xebec has, it's on the same side as other characters from special tribes, like the Shandorians, and also like King. So something's going on there, man. Something is going on. Perhaps the admiral Xebec killed was actually Akainu's father, which could explain his deep hatred for pirates. That admiral might have also been the original Devil user before Kuzan inherited it. Yes, I agree. It doesn't have to be Akainu's father. It could be any admiral's father. It could be Sengoku's father. It could even be Garp's father, Kuzan's father, Kizaru's father. Like, this is a great chance to world build and flesh out an additional character. I think that's phenomenal. This one says, Estrid has the will of H, passing down the hatred from generation to generation and even affecting those around them. Huge W's for a 2-chapter character, bro. That's funny, man. Yeah, I mean, Estrid, dude, she's a generational hater. She hated Loki till the day she died. She didn't even once try to coddle him. She didn't once try to love him. No. She was hard-headed. She was strong-willed. She didn't give up. Seeing baby Loki crawling, trying to hug his mama even just once is a really heartbreaking moment. Bro's childhood is full of sadness, to the point of trying to off himself for it. Bro cried alone secretly and kept hiding his true feelings. Yes, Loki has a pretty sad backstory. This one says, so Whitebeard knew Blackbeard was Rox's son all along. Funny thing is, he also knew about Ace. Both of them became a part of his crew. And yeah, man, Whitebeard was collecting these guys like freaking Pokemon, dude. This one says, that theory about Loki potentially joining up with Blackbeard is exactly what I was thinking about. It's very intriguing to think about, as he did hold Xebec in high regard, yeah? I mean, and the thing is, like, if Blackbeard truly is copying and mirroring his dad one-to-one, who's to say that Loki doesn't see that? You know, there's a chance that Loki runs into Blackbeard and he's like, yo, this is what I wanted, man. I'm finally old enough to join the Rocks Pirates. I don't know. That is tough, because as much as Blackbeard is mirroring Xebec, he's not Xebec. And then look at their crews even, right? Xebec had Whitebeard, he had Shiki, Stussy, Big Mom, Kaido later. So maybe that is what Loki really liked. It wasn't just Xebec and his personality, but it was the people in the crew. So maybe he'll see Blackbeard and he's like, hey, you're like your dad, but you're not your dad. You know, you're similar, but you're not him. I could see that also being the case. But yeah, as far as Loki joining Blackbeard, that's just... it's almost foul to think about, because we do know that Loki is a kind character. You know, Loki is a good guy. I mean, hell, even Mosa went as far as to say that. So Loki, a potentially good character deep down, joining Blackbeard. I don't know. I mean, I guess Xebec was also kind of evil too, right? At least from what we've heard. That's tough. I have seen somebody saying that Blackbeard already has one giant in his arsenal with San Juan Wolf. He doesn't need another. And that could be the case. But then again, Blackbeard is letting just strong people join his crew. So maybe he wouldn't care that he has 2 giants. Like, hey, the more the merrier. I mean, hell, Caribou, right? Caribou is on his way to meet Blackbeard as we speak. So there's a chance Caribou joins, right? And then we have all the Pirates of Hachinosu even. They're technically a part of Blackbeard's crew. So yeah, I guess Loki would be extended that invitation. It really just boils down to whether or not Loki would take it, which I should hold a poll about that, actually. So now, last comment, they say, given how cutthroat the pirate world is, just look at Rox's own son and how he blindsided Thatch. it would make sense if Rox himself doesn't or can't sleep as well, possibly from some sort of special tribe or a lineage that Oda has yet to reveal. All I know is Rox Xebec is already one of my favorite characters. Yeah, he's up there, man. He's definitely up there. I gotta see more from him before I can say this right here, but I do like his design at the very least. You know, he looks like a evolved Blackbeard, like the mega evolution, brother. But again, with that being said, thank you all for being here. I really freaking appreciate it. Thank you for all the comments. You know, we couldn't have this video without those. And I will catch you guys next week because guess what? There's no break. We're rolling on, baby. Oh, man. I can't wait to see what perspective we take on. Will we stick with Loki? Are we going to stick with Rox Xebec? More of King Harold? I don't even know. But I will admit, I wouldn't be too mad if we do follow Rox Xebec after he leaves Elbaf, because we might just get an interaction with Roger. We might just get God Valley. We might even see the Admiral that he killed in another flashback. There's a lot of potential there. Rox Xebec, he's kind of a blank slate. You know, he's just one of those characters where you can kind of give him anything, brother, and we will just accept it. But again, thanks for being here, y'all. Hope you had a good time, and take care.